Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Femme Force Podcast. My name is Rachael, and I am your host. And today I am so excited to be joined by my new friend, Lisa, who is the household CEO. So she is the founder of Organize 365 and the creator of the Household CEO framework. So we're going to be talking a lot about turning household management into a strategic advantage, which is something I think all of us need to know because balancing so much or just being a stay-at-home mom and doing the household chores, that's 45 jobs in one. So I'm super excited to dive into this, Lisa.
Thank you so much for having me. It's going to be a great conversation.
So, how would you describe the work that you're doing today?
So, the work that I'm doing today, I'm 54 years old. I live in Ohio. I like to give that a frame of reference. So, I'm kind of old. I'm not old for some people, but I'm really old for other people. You know what
I
I
get that.
mean?
No,
And
I
I'm
do.
in the middle of the country. I'm not on any of the coasts. And I have been studying households my entire life. I've always lived in the state of Florida. So, studying my household of origin, the households I babysat in, my own household when I was a stay at home mom, the households of the kids that I taught preschool to in disadvantaged areas. And then as an in home professional organizer. And now I've created systems and really a school to learn how to run our households today in the modern household, and just finished my PhD in applied psychology, and now I'm studying households. Like, we do not have enough research in this area. We have a lot of research on how we're dividing the work among men and women, not enough research on how to get rid of the work or professionalize the work.
Okay. Which is something so
Yeah.
different. And I feel like we're going to get into it, but like the trad wife, which is like a whole experience now, and
Yeah.
the Martha Stewart of it all. But
Yeah.
what is the household CEO concept? Like, how does that even work?
Yeah, so I have always been a leader. Like, my sister followed me, and then like it just always I wasn't like an elected leader, but I was the workhorse leader. I always got
Eldest,
the
yeah.
things done in the
You were
group
eldest daughter.
project.
You were eldest
Eldest
daughter.
daughter. Yes, exactly. That's exactly it. And the conversation that's going on in the media is interesting. The trad wife is brand new, but
Mhm.
for over a decades actually, now we've been hearing about how women are doing more work than men are from a very feminist perspective, which I understand where it came from and obviously is warranted because women are doing more work than men in partnered relationships. But a lot of people aren't partnered. And so
Yeah.
they're not even in the studies at all. And so when you think about that, and also, have you ever tried to change anyone? Like, you can't even change your kids. For sure, you can't change your spouse. So the solution isn't in a business organization to get the employees to do the CEO's work. So I like to think, like, what can I do? So for me, I'm a CEO in my business. The more my company has grown, the more I've applied this back to my household. I'm like, oh, forget it. Like, I don't even need family member buy-in. I just need to lead. Like, I need to lead like a CEO at home, just like I
Right.
lead like a CEO at work. My employees, my family members don't need to know how or why I'm doing what I'm doing unless they disagree. I mean, there's obviously room for that discourse, but they don't care. As long as the work is getting done, how I get it done is up to me.
No, 1,000%. And I mean, I know we're going to talk a little bit about managing multiple households, but you had like a breaking point, like this realization that these systems just weren't working. What made you have this realization that like things needed to change?
I think most of us hit this breaking point. I think we hit this breaking point multiple times. There's some like road bumps in life, but a lot of us hit it at that 39, 40, 41-year-old time frame. And I'm now finding that men also are hitting it about the same time. That was my first like stuck in the quicksand, down at the bottom of the pit of despair, thought I would hit rock bottom, actually was sinking deeper. I was like, how low does this go? Like I can my life get worse than this? I cannot.
Yeah.
I wanna live to be 100. I can't live this way for 60 more years. Like, how am I going to change this? That's the first time where my efforting, putting more time into the problem didn't result in any measurable success. And I was like, how do we do this hashtag adulting in the next couple decades? Like, in your 20s or
Yeah.
30s, yeah, you needed more money or you needed more mind or you needed a skill set. But as I was getting into my 40s, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is forever." Like, I have to do this forever, and I was like, "I've got to figure out how to change this, otherwise, I'm just gonna be a depressed, negative, overweight person."
Which is not fun.
No, is that fun?
Yeah. She's not a vibe. We're not here for her. But
She's
were you
desperate.
experiencing?
She is
She's
desperate.
desperate.
She is ugly and desperate, and you do not wanna be her friend.
You don't. You don't. You should I don't wanna be my friend half the time too when I'm in that stage. But the emotional and the mental load of just trying to keep up which is so, so hard.
Yeah.
Like, what were you experiencing that so many women were? Like, you've got parents, then you automatically become the caretakers. You're automatically the caretaker of your children. And let's be honest, ladies, you're automatically the caretaker of your husband. So, like, how are you able to try to think like I'm going to be able to even keep up with this? It's not even, it doesn't even seem possible.
Yeah, and just a little stat to back up what you just said, because I've read thousands of studies on housework in academia. And there was a study that was done on how much work a housewife does, or how much work a wife does if she is married or not married. So, like if they get divorced.
Yeah.
And she does 5.3 extra hours of work per week. And when a man gets divorced, he adds 5.1 hours of housework to his own schedule. So, yeah, we are single moms do less housework than married wives, which I never thought. Anyways,
Oh, I wouldn't have thought
um,
that either. Like that.
yeah, yeah, no, academia, like, we gotta do more research, you guys, like, there are stats to support
Yeah.
all of this stuff that we are like, "I swear I'm doing more work." Yeah, you are actually doing more work. So, the work I was specifically doing at 39, my kids were in middle school, they had some academic challenges, health things I needed to deal
Mhm.
with, I was married, we had a house, not a lot of land, but, you have to cut it, we had,
Yeah.
my parents had gotten divorced about 7 years prior. My father had fallen ill, got sick, passed away. My sister and I had to settle that estate, do the funeral, like, in our 30s. We never thought this was something we would be doing, selling our family home, moving all those things. We were going through the economic recession because this was 2012 when I started my company. So we're out of 2008, 2009. All of these things have happened. Like, everyone around you may not be experiencing a medical crisis, but you may be.
Yeah.
Everyone around you may not be parenting, but you may be, or caretaking. And I love to extend that to caretaking instead of just parenting, because we talk a lot about parenting. Most research on household work is almost exclusively done on parenting, the parenting population of married, um, married couples with children under the age of 18, which is only 17.9% of the current population in the United
Okay.
States. So if you're caring for parents, which you may not have children, but you came from parents. So if you're caring for parents, you are in caregiving and it comes out of nowhere, right, Rachel? Like, that comes out of nowhere. You drop everything.
100%.
Obviously, you have to care for people. And then you move on into like figuring out how you're going to get all the other things done. So that's where I was. I was just at the bottom of the pit of despair, crying in my oatmeal.
I mean, we've been there, girl, been there. I mean, and you say like we have to think like a CEO. You're a CEO in your business, but you need to be a CEO in your household. And so it's this huge mindset shift. And why is that so important to be able to take what you're doing at work and like really shift your mind to be like, this has to be kind of like a business at home?
Yeah, and I love this because I know the people that listen to you have that business mindset. I didn't. Like, I got a teaching degree and then I became a stay-at-home mom, and then I started this entrepreneurial business as kind of like a blog and a side hustle, like from a desk in my bedroom for the first 7 years, and I was just making a little bit of change so we could send the kids to private school and go on vacation. Like, that's my whole trajectory until about 45. So about 5, 6, 7 years into the business, I was like, "Oh, okay." I shifted from the in-home organizing to creating products, manufacturing them, getting a warehouse, and actually starting to hire W-2 employees. Okay. Once you have W-2 employees, you're like, oh, you could say you're a CEO when you're a solopreneur, but like, you don't have any real CEO problems. CEO problems come with HR and they come with landlords and they come with contracts and products that come in that are non-sellable that you've already paid for and you've now got to get a lawyer involved. Like, I was like, oh wow, this whole CEO thing, like being the chief everything officer
Yeah.
and figuring out all those things. There were a lot of things that I did from 2018 to 2022 that were very different in my business than I'd ever done in my household. And so I'd always been a leader in my household. I'd always thought of myself as a leader in the household. But as I got through the pandemic and we were really established and I started working in the office with everyone else in 2021, I was like, oh, I'm a CEO. I mean, the company was multiple $1 million a year at that point. We had like 10 W-2 employees. I was like, yeah, this is a legit business. You know how you have like these little
Yeah.
stages where you're like a legit business. The only way I was able to do that was to turn around and every single thing I was learning in entrepreneurship, I then applied back to my household because if you don't realize this, running your household takes about 28 hours a week without parenting responsibilities. Just think about the amount of times we think about get all the things related to food, laundry, and cleaning, and that's
Mhm.
just housework. That's not household management. That's not organization. That's not information management. Like it is a full part-time, and when you're parenting, full-time job to run a household. So I was doing all that and starting this company. And so I was working for pay or working for free all the time. And I had to really start thinking about like, okay, in the business, I found the less goals I had, the more successful I was. Sure, we have
Yeah,
80,000 things we want to do, but you can only focus on three. So then I started
true.
applying that to the household. In the household, we feel like because we're at home and we can do it, we should do it. Because it's on the to do list, we want to check it off. And I started thinking, no, let's just eliminate things from the to do list. We don't even need to, a CEO would not pay an employee to do this. A
No,
CEO would not
exactly.
use their time to do this. A CEO wouldn't even outsource this. They would just eliminate it entirely. A CEO would say, we're going to eat on paper plates for the next 3 months. And then I eliminate dishes, which eliminates, 2 hours per week times da 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 da. And we figure out what that time per use calculation is. A CEO would say, I'm taking out all of the gardens, all the flower gardens, and planting bushes, and all I have to do now is weed. I don't have to plant and deadhead and remove, like, so I started to make those kind of productivity strategic decisions in my household so that my household functioned more um, on its own. It was on
Yeah,
autopilot so that I had time to grow the business because you only have so many hours in a day. And
you
then
do,
the
and I
ultimate
tell
piece
people
was,
that all the time.
yeah.
Go ahead.
And then the big thing for me was, so that's kind of like logical. Then the big thing for me was like, oh, when I started having a small leadership team and we could do quarterly planning and I could start to tell them my idea and then they could make it real in the team. I was like, oh, I have a system now for running HR, for running the warehouse, for running marketing, for running finances. And all I have to do is make sure I have enough time on my calendar to check that all those systems and all those people and all those teams are working. How do I do that at home? I was like, oh, we have no systems. We have nothing. You move in a house, you have no furniture, you have no systems,
Yeah.
you have no nothing. Every single system that you put inside your household, you have cobbled together by talking to a girlfriend, observing your parents, Googling, downloading something on Pinterest. That is not a good way to make a system. That will make
Okay.
really cute, beautiful to-do lists, and
Yeah.
you'll be working really well on these certain areas that you've thought to surface. But when you're truly growing a business, a multi-million dollar business with employees, you have to spend time on finances. You can't pretend that doesn't exist. You can't do marketing or sales. You have to do both. You have to do customer service and delivery. Like you have to have a well-rounded business. That's what we need in our households too. We need to take care of all of the operations of our household, not just the ones we've thought about or talked to our girlfriend about latest. So that's when I started to create an operational system for a household that mirrors what you have inside of a business.
I mean, but it's so smart. And like what you were saying about you have the same hours in a day as Warren Buffett, as
Yeah.
Oprah, as Martha Stewart, like these multi billionaires who have insane businesses and insane career trajectories and all of this. And that's what I tell people all the time. I'm like, I have the same amount of days, same amount of hours in a day as Warren Buffett. Like it's how you organize and how efficient you are with your time. Like that's really where you make it. And we talked a little bit about like women that are like drowning in these daily responsibilities and trying to make them more efficient in the households. But what is the one thing that women are wasting the most time at home? Like, is it what we think it is, like a normal household chore, or is it something that it's something we're just not going to expect?
Oh my gosh. First of all, I love that you said we have the most same hours in the day as Warren Buffett. I have studied him quite a little bit, and he has lived in the same house his whole life.
Mhm.
Did you know that? Like he's never
Yep.
moved. I have never moved in 30 years. I think that has saved me an exorbitant amount of time
I've
by not
moved twice
literally
in this
thinking.
year, and you have no idea, literally, the amount
Yeah,
of time it
like,
takes.
oh my gosh, moving, no.
Yeah.
And also he has a very small team, so he doesn't have
Mhm.
a lot of people that he needs to manage. So where are we wasting the most of our time? So in my theoretical framework, we have housework, which is the visible work, which is the bottom of the Maslow's hierarchy period, level one. This is where we are the maid. Like imagine yourself in an 1800s maid costume, not a cute, sexy maid like we're the old fashioned, like doing the toilets maid.
Yeah.
You're cleaning, you're doing the laundry, and you're doing food. This is taking you anywhere from 12 to 20 hours a week. You don't think so. I didn't think so either. I did my own time study and I was ticked off because it took like 36 hours. So this takes so much time. That is where we should eliminate. Lower your standards. Why are you cleaning so much? Are people really coming over? Because they're not coming to my house. So are they really coming over? If they're not coming over, then why are you doing it? You don't necessarily need to do it. And then do you mind if I go through the framework real
No,
quick?
go ahead.
Okay. So level one is the maid. Level two, you become your own professional organizer and you start to organize your environment. This is going to save you time because it'll take time to do the organizing, but it'll save time in living in the household. Level three, we start in the invisible work. So this is household management. So managing all the projects, all the finances, all of the maintenance that needs to happen in your house. Level four, you're the CIO, the information officer. This is where you organize all the information. You know it, but your family or your friends have to ask you questions because there is no repository to go
Yeah.
look to. So then you become everybody's Siri or Google, and you're like, oh, I wish they could just find this information themselves. And then the top level, level five, is when you really step into leadership and you become the CEO and you become the strategic visionary. So you're setting the vision for your household. But then the other thing that you're doing is when you're in a family of more than just yourself, you are putting yourself on the list. Like what I learned in growing my company is the health of the CEO is the health of the organization. The growth of the
Yeah.
CEO is the growth of the organization. Apply that to your household. Like if you're in a household and you have children, you have to prioritize them when they're little. But then we tend to, as they're in middle school and high school and beyond, prioritize all of our time, talent, and treasure and giving them as many opportunities as possible so that they can become contributing adults and we figure out what they're uniquely gifted and created to do. However, sometimes if it's the female head of the household, she will defer any of her hobbies or interests until after the kids are out of the house. By then, she doesn't even remember what they are. And along the way, she has let go of her nutrition, her wellness, her health, her hobby, like everything that she used to be before she was a mother. And it's hard to get that back and figure out what that is again.
Do you feel like when those things start happening, that's kind of like the trigger of like, this is what overwhelmed actually is? And like when you really need to be taking a step back to be like, this is what we have to do.
Yeah, definitely my like I never let go of reading. That's one thing that I never let go of. I always bought books, I always borrowed books, I always did books. I would say, honestly, I started the company at the age of 40 because it was an acceptable hobby. It was okay to start a business because I was making money. And it
Yeah.
was okay to travel because it was business related. And it was okay to buy a new computer because I needed it for the business. So I'm not going to lie, that first decade, I used and sometimes today still use the business as the excuse to do something for me that appears selfish
Mhm.
maybe in my family, but I wouldn't deny that of my spouse or of my kids.
But
But
only
when you're the
yourself.
woman,
Yeah.
it's like you should sacrifice. So I use the business. Now in my 50s, like I got a PhD just because I wanted to. Like I will do a lot of things at home just because I want to. I'm like, hey, these are my grandkids living with me, not my kids. Like I'm gonna go upstairs and spend an hour and work on a puzzle, like because I just want to. And I'm more comfortable in my 50s saying that. I could not have done, maybe I could have, but I didn't do that in my 40s because we needed more money, number one.
Yeah.
And number two, my kids did still need a lot of my time and attention. I didn't have the quantity of time I have now in my 50s that my kids are grown.
No, I mean, and that makes complete sense. And you talked a little bit before about outsourcing and like when you outsource, what kind of things do you think women should be outsourcing if they're able to? Obviously, finances come into play a lot with this.
Yeah, I'll tell you many things I've outsourced. So when my kids were in high school, the last year of my son's senior year, when they both weren't driving yet, so I was in the car 25 hours a week, graduation parties, and I was growing this company. I outsourced laundry. It was $40 to $60 a week. I did the towels and jeans at home because they're heavy, but everything else was done at the laundromat. I just dropped it off and they did it for me. So that was great. I have outsourced cleaning my house many times. There have been seasons where I've cleaned my own house, and there were seasons where I actually cleaned other people's houses. It's a great way to make money if you're looking for a
That's
little
all.
side hustle. I mean, you make 30, 40, $50 an hour cleaning people's houses. Like I will clean toilets for $50 an hour.
Oh
But now
yeah.
I'm having my house cleaned. And when I had my house cleaned and when my kids were little, I would hire a nanny. I would then use that time to work on my business. So there's one thing to just outsource work so that you don't have to do it. But another way to grow, if you're specifically if you're growing a side hustle or a business for a female business owner, outsourcing housework gives her more time and capacity to grow and do whatever she's doing in the business. It's different than for men.
Yeah.
Men, literally, scientific studies, they just won't do the work. There is a scientific study of men just cohabitating like roommates, and they wouldn't do the dishes because no one wanted to appear to be the woman in the relationship. It's like, so they just won't even they just don't even do the housework. Women
I mean, you
don't
hear
do that.
about
We're
men
like,
that
no,
just go out, they throw
we're in
out
our
their
nest.
underwear and they go out and buy more.
Yes. Totally. Like, women are like, "Oh, that's so much time, that's so much money, we couldn't do that, we have to, like, wear underwear for, like, 18 years and see if we can, like, really test that elastic." Women, everyone should leave this podcast and go, get yourself a brand new pair of underwear,
Literally,
put it
go.
on, and you'll realize how you need to replace all of your underwear. Like, why don't we buy ourselves new underwear? What's the matter with us?
No, we keep it on. I have it on my calendar. I do it once a year.
Oh
A
my
little
gosh, that's
calendar reminder.
awesome.
Yep. I'm like, you need new underwear. It's time. It's been a year.
Love
You
it.
wear these every single day. You need to, you
Oh,
wash them
I
a lot.
love that.
But I mean, all of this is stuff that's happening in every single person's home. Even if you're single, if you're a mom, all of this. How did you end up sitting down and being like, I'm going to turn this into a business?
Slowly over time, when you have something you're uniquely gifted and created to do, or an experience, usually things come out of hardships, as you know. The more you press into your uniqueness, the deeper you can go. So what I mean by that is, like, a lot of people want to have like an online business. So they follow somebody else who has an online business. They're like, I'm going to retail arbitrage books, or I'm going to, like, whatever is the thing that's selling right now, which is always changing. And so then you're chasing a business model, and you're chasing a way to earn some extra money. What I did was I decided the thing that I could talk about for the rest of my life was organization. Organizing other people, being organized myself. I had no idea how I would monetize this company when I started. I just knew it was a good SEO keyword. Organized 365 sounded like it would be something that would be good for SEO in 2012. I started as a blog and in a direct sales company. 3 months later, I found out I was a professional organizer. 3 years later, I realized people were getting organized, like, I was getting them started, but they were finishing without me finishing their houses. At first, this was terrible because this is how I made money. And then it was great because I'm a trained teacher. If this is a learnable skill and I want an online business, how do I teach it online? So I started the podcast 12 years ago, 25 million downloads now. And then I just every single Friday, solo podcast. How do you get organized? Listening to a
Yeah.
professional organizer. How do you get organized? 3 years of the podcast, I was like, oh, we're missing operational systems. Manufactured, patented, and created the Sunday basket system. Organizes that household manager invisible work. Oh, we need binders for our information management because you can't evacuate from fires in California or earthquakes in, not earthquakes, hurricanes in Florida if you have a file cabinet. Okay, so we'll make that. Well, when I made the binders, I was like, all right, well, we don't just need to move our file cabinet into a binder. Really, almost all of our information is in our head or on our computer. And digital is great for productivity for a person, but not
Yeah.
for collaboration. So, okay, what if we are not going to print it all? But what is essential? Like, what would you need if you're power of healthcare? What would you need if you're power of attorney? What would you need if you're settling a state? What would you need if you're selling your house? That's the information. So, all my binders have workbooks. Then I started to get the PhD. So everything's just like iterative. And about every 18 months to 3 years, we make a different leap, a different leap, a different leap. And when you're doing one thing only, which for me is organizing the house, you get deeper and deeper and deeper. Like, anybody can rainbow organize your house or put labels on things. But how do you research a household and how it changes from childhood through retirement, from moving from regular living into assisted living, from settling someone's estates, these things that we don't necessarily, they're not sexy. They're not
Like, people
Pinterestable.
don't want to talk about them. Like my
They
parents,
don't.
my mother would cry. She'd be like, why do you want me to die? And I'm like, I don't want you to die.
Right.
So
No, but I do
I'm
wanna know
like,
what
but
you
we
want me
have
to
to, yeah,
do.
I just need to know. I'm like, I'm not being haunted. So do you want to be buried in a military cemetery with dad?
Yeah,
That's not Catholic. It's not a Catholic. Or do you want to go to do you want to be by your parents? How the hell do I know? You don't write it down. I'm
right.
like, you have to have these really, really tough conversations. And I do them with my girlfriends all the time. I'm like, you just have to have these tough conversations. I'm like,
Yeah.
and write it down. I'm like, 'cause if you don't write it
Yes.
down, it doesn't even have to be a legal thing. Just write it down as like your last wishes. I'm like, because if you don't, I'm like, your parents are going to bury you the way that you want to be doing it. And trust me, I know that all of us don't want our parents to be making those choices. I'd be
Right.
full on Catholic ceremony with like angel cherubs flying around or something. And I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want that.
Incense everywhere, incense
So
everywhere.
many incense, so many priests, so many things where I'm like, yeah, no, I'm like, no, redid my dad's and I was like, well, why'd you do your dad's? I'm like, because I knew what he wanted. Like, what do you want? You tell me. I will I will type yours out and make a Google folder for it also. Death. It's fun. We should all be
Yes.
talking about it though. But I mean, so you did the podcast for what, like 11 years, you said?
Yeah, 12 years and counting, like, we're keep on going.
I love it
Love
though.
it.
But how did I mean, and you did I mean, this was before like I mean, social media had just started and like I mean, Instagram, Facebook was obviously around, but like Instagram was just coming out in like 2012. So how has content played such a huge role in
Yeah.
creating this brand?
Yes, I'm old. Um,
Same.
very, very old. Content is king. Content has always been king. I am just now starting to dabble into AI for some operational processes in our company and for research because AI is built on
Yeah.
academic research. So it's great for research, especially stats. But content, creating long form content, writing blog posts, making podcasts, writing books, has you wrestle with your ideas and concepts and what is unique about your views and concepts versus what's already out there on the marketplace and refine them over time. And a podcast, especially, like if you listen to this podcast, you love Rachel and you know the guests that she has on and you know about her family probably more than she realizes that you know about her because we share so much when we're on the podcast. And she is like one of your BFFs, like we are when we listen to podcasts. I have a lot of BFFs
Yeah.
on my podcast player, which I love. And so it's really an online conversation where the person who is sharing the information is verbally processing and getting deeper and deeper, deeper into their understanding. And the audience, through DMs or live events or however you interact with your audience, is giving you feedback and telling you, yes, go deeper. So a lot of my audience will say on my podcast, oh my gosh, Lisa, you say out loud the things that I think in my head, but I don't even know how to articulate them. And I thought it was only me. And we're all having these conversations. How do we have them together? And then from that podcast or blog or book or whatever content you make, once you gain a following of people, they will tell you if what they are listening to is resonating with them. Well, if there are no operational systems and we've all cobbled them together, and some of us really love the systems we've cobbled together, but we have a sibling or we have a friend who didn't come from an organized
Yeah.
family and is not organizationally inclined, they don't even know how to cobble it together. So and they don't want our system, then I'll teach them the basics, just like I had to learn as a business owner. I now basically have an MBA because I've gone to so many masterminds and so many courses and read so many books, so many podcasts in order to create this company that I have today. I didn't innately know that when I started the company, even though I had a good idea for a company. And so we're just all lifelong learners. And how are you in relationship with the audience with which you serve? How are you hearing back from them what they want to hear about? And how are you sharing your new ideas and finding what resonates and what doesn't resonate? So I think content is essential. Now, content takes a while to get going and you need to be
Yeah.
consistent. So 18 months to 2 years before you should really expect a podcast is going to take off, a Substack newsletter, whatever you're doing. Like it takes time for people to find you and feel comfortable to really reach out to you.
No, and I mean, it's so much, it's a full-time job. Like, to
Yeah.
stay up on trends, to think of things, and, like, when you don't have a team and you're doing it solo, like, trust me, ladies, like, it is not easy, and you
Yeah.
can tell I'm not the best at it, like, I am working very hard on it. It has been my goal. I'm like, but I'm coming up on a 2-year anniversary, and I'm like, I have got to get better at the content. 'Cause the content is how you make your brand. Unfortunately, like, that's how people know you. I'm like, it's based on your followers and things like that, and I'm like, "That's so stupid." I have so much to say and so much to give and such a level of subject matter expertise, and yet I don't have enough followers. That must mean I don't.
I don't know. I mean, you don't need a lot of followers to have a following and to make good money. I think that is something that I have noticed over time. I don't have a lot of followers. I have a lot of downloads of the podcast because I produce a lot of episodes and I have a lot of loyal listeners. But I've never gone viral for a single thing. My social media is, yeah. I mean, it looks good if you're looking at it right now because I hired
Yeah,
a video crew to come to the warehouse and they recorded 120 videos in 2 days. And we've been pushing them out over 4 months for the book launch. But then scroll back, you guys. Like I'm the
right, and then
talking
you're
head.
like,
I
"Yep,
have captions and I'm a talking head. That's all I am. I don't know.
better than
I
what
don't
I
make
have."
good reels. And social media is such a hungry beast. Like you put it on, it's gone in 5 seconds. To me, but the podcast has been around 12, 13 years. Like that is worthy of my time, talent, and treasure. and that can then become the basis of books and other things. I
True.
mean, so many people will just start all the way back 12 years ago. It takes you more than a year now to listen to the whole back catalog. I can't even imagine, but I've done it on other podcasts before. Like, it's like a treasure trove, but the social media, gosh, I mean, I know it's your business, but I'm just like, I'm kinda over it.
No, it's
I'm like,
1,000%.
I don't
Like,
know.
it's
I'm over it.
so hard. It's like literally it's another 2 full-time jobs, and I'm like, "We don't even have
Yeah.
time for that,
Nope.
guys." So, when it going back to organization here, when a woman is in her household and she's like, I wanna implement this, like, this is something," how do you she have that conver or he or them, how do they have that conversation with their significant other if they're in a household with a partner and children to be like, "Hey, we're about to do this."
No, you just don't. You just
You
do
just
it.
don't?
So, here's what I say, because often if you've been like, "Oh," if you are not already an organized person and you're like, "I wanna be organized," like, you just like, "I wanna lose weight, I wanna be debt free," you wanna be organized. Like, these are, like, the things that we want. And so you're like, "I wanna be organized." So you've heard this podcast, you're like, "That's right, I wanna be organized." And then you go tell your spouse and they're like, actually," and they give you a list of every other time you've said you wanna be organized and all the money you've spent on it. No, we don't need to tell them anything. Also, the CEO just does things. The CEO just does it. Now, if you have to have a conversation about money, have a
Yeah.
conversation about money. But for the most part, if you're the CEO, start listening to podcasts, start implementing things free. The Sunday basket's $179. Most people don't have to have a conversation about that. See if it works for you. And have them see your change versus getting their buy-in or permission to do it, because we're allowed to just want to learn and grow on our own.
No, that's I mean, that makes sense, and, like, if when you're implementing it, what does success look like for a client for you? Like, if you bring on a client and, they're a disaster and they're like, "I need help." What does success look like for them?
Yeah, so I have found that most people who want to get organized do not have an effort problem. They have an order of operations problem. And
Mm,
what I mean by that is they are going to start by organizing the family room, the kitchen, the garage, all the spaces that you see when you walk in the house, because that's what they see and that's what the family sees. And that's what people who come over to the house see. That is not where I think you should start. I think you should start either in your personal spaces or your storage spaces. First of all, these are hidden, so nobody even needs to know that you're trying this. So your personal spaces are your bedroom, bathroom, closet, and home office. And your storage spaces are all the storage
yeah.
spaces. So start with your biggest storage space and turn it into the prepaid store it's supposed to be with shelving and bins. And I mean, my husband, I think, has only been in our storage room twice in 30 years. He wouldn't know if I went down there and put in like a movie set. He would have no idea because he doesn't even go there. So you're doing it in secret. You
Yes.
could take your time. And when those spaces are organized, they support you and reduce your anxiety and they stay organized. Whereas if you clean and organize the kitchen, the next weekend is probably not, well, it's definitely not clean, but it's not as organized as it was. So having those spaces, all that anxiety off of you and those rock places, those anchor places organized, then gives you more experience and time and focus on the living spaces, which you're going to have to do more maintenance of. And what does success look like for my clients when they do that, when they change that order of operations? And it does take like a year or two to get your house all the way organized. They end up having more time. So, Organize 365 is an organizing company, but actually, we're here to help unlock your time. It's not about what organization looks like. Organization is sold in America as a design aesthetic, as a minimalistic design or rainbow or labeled or whatever it's going to look like. But true organization is a feeling. The ability to find what you need to find when you need to find it and have systems that are supporting you in your phase of life so that you can effortlessly move throughout your house with the least amount of time possible. It's
Okay.
productivity. So
Yes.
they have more time. And Organize 365 helps you get your home organized with functional systems that work so that you have more time to do what you're uniquely gifted and created to do. So you'll have this abundance of time to then pour into your own uniqueness, whether that's for a business or personal pleasure or whatever the reason is, whatever you want it to be.
I mean, I love that. It's just such a smart idea, and it's something that's so needed. I mean, and you obviously needed it. That's how, like, you got started and how it was created, but
Yeah.
so many women don't even know that, like, there are these resources out there to, like, assist you in doing this. Like, you don't have to be alone in this journey of just
Yeah.
trying to get your shit together. Literally.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah. I
completely
mean, it
different.
is it is overwhelming when you don't have a
Yeah.
plan and you think that the end goal is this perfect Pinterest picture. And my house doesn't look that way, and it is very organized, and my husband will often tell me, "Our house isn't very organized." I'm like, "Honey, that's because you were raised by a perfectionist and you've not been in other people's houses other than for a party." Like,
Mhm.
I have seen houses, like, I could show you what disorganized looks like, dear. This is not disorganized,
Yeah.
but, we are measured to this unrealistic expectation. We need to eliminate that from our mind and our family members' minds.
No, 1,000%. I just think it's such an amazing product that you're giving and that you develop because some people, they just need help. You just need help
Mhm.
sometimes. Even if
Mhm.
that's just guidance or a checklist or instructions on how to do it that you can follow, like simple, simple things.
Yeah, yeah, agreed.
Love it. So as we wrap up here, I like to ask all of my guests one last question, but if you could give one piece of advice to your 16-year-old self, what would that be?
So my 16-year-old self was babysitting and organizing other people's houses,
Love
reorganizing my
that.
bedroom every time I got sent to my bedroom because I was probably talking too much. And then when we got out of timeout, I wouldn't leave because I wanted to finish my bedroom. Then I went in and I organized my sister's bedroom. So I would tell my 16-year-old self, you love organizing. Keep pressing into that, like, keep following that, like, usually at 16, we're not very filtered, and we have
Yeah,
something that we just love doing, horses, dancing, whatever it is, like, keep doing a little bit of that. I don't know if you'll be able to monetize it, but usually somewhere down the road you can.
I love that though. But like you had a passion for it from a young age and the fact
Mhm.
that you can look back and be like, no, I remember doing these things. Like I've always had a passion for this. Like so many people can't
Yeah.
always pinpoint like, oh no, I was doing this little thing that might not seem like something passionate, but it really was for me.
Yes. Yes.
I love that. Lisa, thank you so much for coming on. Let's plug you a little bit. I'm going to put them in the show notes, but tell listeners where they can find you.
Oh, thank you. So the website is called organize365.com. The podcast is called Organize365, and I'm most active on Instagram under Organize365.
Perfect. Lisa, thank you so much for coming. Everybody go out, check it out, and get organized. Like, I'm excited. Tag us some photos. Like, I'm excited to see how you guys are organizing because that will just tickle my brain like none other.